So if you're planning on moving to the Netherlands, I bet that the first thing that you're probably thinking is how much is it going to cost to move here? Well, today I'm going to give you updates on the current cost of living in the Netherlands. And I think that the most important place to start when it comes to living here is, of course, housing. So to be honest, the housing crisis in the Netherlands has only gotten worse. And so this means that housing has become even more expensive, not well kept, and also cramped. Amsterdam was actually named the 9th most expensive city in Europe, and it's on par with Paris and Rome as far as rental prices go. So if you're looking anywhere around Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague, or Utrecht, then just know that these are going to be the most expensive cities in the Netherlands. And you're also going to face a lot of competition as well. But all hope is not lost, because if you go outside of these main cities, you're still gonna face a lot of competition, but it will be a lot less expensive for housing. In the Netherlands, there are a few types of houses that you can get. There are single apartments, which you can rent on your own, and for a 1-bedroom, these go for around 1,100 to 2,200 euros, depending on the location. If you don't mind having roommates, then you can also rent a room in a shared apartment, and these go for around 400 to 900 euros. And if you're going to university, a lot of schools actually offer student housing on campus, and this is gonna be one of the most affordable options for you. So all you have to do is reach out to the school and see what their pricing and also their availability looks like, because I know that because student housing is such a good option, it gets booked up super fast. And one thing to note, one really big thing actually, is that the Netherlands just went through a change in its rental laws. And so last year, I believe it was in July 2024, it became a law that landlords cannot just charge these crazy prices and the government actually keeps a cap on how much the rental can be. Also, another change is that all contracts are now indefinite. And so there's no hard line on when you have to move out of a place. It's kind of like if you get an apartment, then you can just stay there as long as you want. And this is a good thing, but it has also caused landlords to sell their places because they no longer want to deal with their rentals. So it's caused the housing market to have even less of a supply of housing. Also with housing, you have to keep in mind that there's a direct correlation between where you live and the price that you pay. If you live in bustling international cities like Amsterdam, The Hague, Rotterdam, or Utrecht, then you will pay a lot more for housing, but you'll also have a lot more job opportunities and a lot more opportunities to meet international people. And in the Netherlands, if you can't speak Dutch that well, it's going to be really important to situate yourself near other international people, because you're not going to be able to form deep connections with Dutch people. And for me, I currently live in Amersfoort, which is a smaller town, and so it's been really tough for me actually to meet other international people. And if I lived in a bigger city like Utrecht, which is only like a 15-minute train ride, so it's not that bad. But if I lived directly in the city, it would be a lot easier for me to form deeper connections with more international people there. So if that's important to you, you might want to look at a bigger city and sacrifice some of your wallet for more fun. However, living in a smaller city does have its advantages. The air quality will be better, things will be a lot calmer, you won't have honking right outside your window, and you'll also be able to pay a better price for housing. And whatever you choose, just keep in mind that the Netherlands has a great rail system. And so no matter where you live, you can always just hop on a train and be able to go to the event that you want to, or to meet up with the friends that you want to meet up with. And as you probably know, because the Netherlands is very famous for it, bikes are the main mode of transportation for most people here. But I will say, as a foreigner, there is a huge learning curve when it comes to riding a Dutch bike. Before coming here, I thought a bike is a bike. I don't need to relearn how to ride a bike, but I was wrong, because Dutch bikes are much different than the mountain bikes or the hybrid bikes that I'm used to riding in the US. It's just a bit different with balancing, and so it does feel a bit more wobbly when you ride on them. So if you're used to a mountain bike or a hybrid bike, just know that it will feel different if you get a Dutch bike, but it'll get better the more you ride it. And you can also get a hybrid bike if you like. No one's gonna stop you. There's no Dutch police here that say that you have to ride a Dutch bike. But if you're gonna be riding long distances, Dutch bikes are designed to be a lot more comfortable for you. And this is because the Netherlands is literally built for bike travel. Bikes here always have the right of way, and the roads are built to accommodate bike lanes. So wherever you choose to go on your bike, you're gonna be pretty safe, and it's gonna feel really great to be able to ride around here. As far as pricing, it really depends on the type of bike that you want and the condition of the bike. And you can pay anything from €0 to a whole lot of euros. It just depends on the type of bike. And yes, I said €0 because I have met some people, and I've also seen online where some people are able to get a free bike from a site called Marketplaats. And Marketplaats, if you aren't familiar, is basically like the Dutch Craigslist. And yeah, some people just list used bikes on there for free, and you can go pick them up. And even if you don't find them for free on Marketplaats, it's still a really great site to look on if you're looking for a used bike, because they have some pretty great prices. But just be aware that some people do go on there and list stolen bikes. And so if that freaks you out, or if you really want to avoid getting a stolen bike, then there are other options as well. So at the bike store, you can get a whole new, fresh, shiny bike from anywhere ranging from €300 to thousands and thousands of euros. Though my suggestion would be to go for a really good used bike. And you can do this at a used bike shop. So if you go to a used bike store, you can get a pretty good used one for about €150. And if you don't want to totally commit to a bike just yet, you can use a bike rental service, or even use your OV Ship card to rent a bike through the NS. But in the long run, these options will just cost you more than just buying a used bike. And yeah, either way, unless you're really, really passionate about riding a bike here, you're probably really going to want to stick with getting a used bike, because a lot of bikes do get stolen here. And that's why it's really important to have at least 2 locks on your bike at all times. And really funny thing is that sometimes people even spend more on their bike locks than their actual bike. But if you need to go really long distances and don't want to ride your bike, or it's raining outside and you just don't want to deal with the wind and the rain that day, then there's always trains, trams, and buses that you can take as well. The Netherlands is known for having a really amazing rail system. You can literally go anywhere in the country using NS Rail, and also you can go to some places outside of the country as well. Anyways, they're pretty clean, provide debatable quality Wi-Fi, and are decently on time most of the time. Although, if I'm being completely honest, this year there have been more and more delays going on, and I see a lot more people talking about how the trains are not always on time recently. Still, coming from the US, this is miles ahead of where we are, so it's pretty great to me. They also have an app that's pretty easy to navigate and also helps you get to your destination. So you can just put in your starting point and your ending point, and it'll let you know the best route to take and when you can take those routes. But as of 2025, the NS has increased its pricing, and it already wasn't cheap. And so it's becoming a more expensive option. For example, last year it cost me $12.50 to go from Amersfoort to Deventer on the train, and this year it cost me $13.30 to do the same ride. But you can offset this by getting an OV chip card and buying an NS subscription. They have many different options, and so you can just choose the one that works best for you. They also have this really great feature where if you buy a subscription, then friends that travel with you also get a pretty hefty discount as well, even if they don't have a subscription. And you can also use your subscription for buses as well. And you can also own a car, of course, but I have no experience with that, so I can't really comment on it here. So for groceries, you have a few different options for grocery shopping, and they all vary by cost and quality of food. So weekend markets and tokos are going to be your cheapest options for buying produce and groceries. However, I find that the weekend markets, the produce there just doesn't last as long as other places. But tokos are pretty good when it comes to both produce and spices and specialty ingredients. Aldi and Lidl are also another budget-friendly option. They're going to be a little more expensive than tokos and weekend markets, but not a lot more than them. They can also be a more convenient option if you have one that's closer to your home. And Aldi's produce has always been pretty good to me, but they don't have a large selection of meats, so you'll probably have to go somewhere else for that. Jumbo and Albert Heijn, this is where I do a lot of my shopping, but they are pretty expensive, and that's because they come with convenience. They're one of the only supermarkets really in the Netherlands, and so it's really a one-stop shop place. And for me, being super busy, I don't really have time to go to individual stores to get what I need, so I just pop into a Jumbo or an Albert Heijn and pick up everything there. But you will pay a little bit more, and also the quality isn't always that great. So Plus is actually my favorite store here, but it's pretty expensive, and I will say the same about specialty stores as well. They're going to be more expensive than your average grocery store, but they're gonna have a lot more variety, and the quality of food is gonna be really nice. And if cooking isn't your thing, you can always dine out here, but something that I realized is that Dutch people don't really eat dinner out that often unless it's for a special occasion. At least that's the case in smaller towns like where I live in Amersfoort. But in bigger cities like Amsterdam or Utrecht, there's definitely more of a food culture there. Either way, you'll have options in every city if you want to dine out. The cheapest options, of course, are going to be fast food chains, just like anywhere else. So McDonald's, Burger King, KFC. There's also a bunch of quick chain cafes like Bagels and Beans that you could go to as well. And the most expensive option will, of course, be restaurants. So something to know is that health insurance is actually mandatory in the Netherlands. So you'll want to buy it as soon as you get to the Netherlands, because once you get health insurance, the health insurance company will actually make you back pay from the first day that you arrived in the Netherlands anyways. But to be fair to them, they'll also reimburse you for any out-of-pocket medical bills that you paid for as well. So it kind of works out. Health insurance is said to rise in 2025. I'm not too sure if that's happened yet, but when I purchased health insurance, it's about 150 euros a month. And if you make under a certain salary, the government will actually give you money back that you paid into health insurance once you file your taxes. You can also use these sites which help you to compare healthcare packages, but to be honest, all the healthcare packages are pretty similar. You can just buy the basic package. I think the big difference is where you will have coverage. So those sites really help for you to see if you'll have enough coverage in the area that you live in. Anyways, I hope that this helped you get a better gauge on pricing of things in the Netherlands as it stands currently. Of course, things are only getting more expensive, but this should be good at least through this year and should help some of you out. If you have anything else to add, please do so in the comments, but that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!